Hi, everybody. I wanted to jump on here really quickly and give you pretty much a summary of what went on in the United States versus P Diddy case. Now, as you can see, he's the only defendant in the case at this time, because in the press conference this morning, they made it very clear that more arrests are coming. Now, the most important thing that happened today is the sealed indictment documents were unsealed. And these documents are the reason that Diddy was denied bail. So let's dig into these documents. Now, it's a 14-page indictment document. And in these documents, it states that Diddy's official charges are trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy and prostitution transportation. It goes on to say that Diddy has two companies, Bad Boy Records and Combs Global. And these would be deemed, in a lack for other words, his clean companies. Then he had a not so clean company that he called the Enterprise. Now, the Enterprise was made up of certain employees from the security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors. And what they were in charge of was carrying out whatever orders Diddy needed done and covering up his illegal actions. And that included his sex activities. Yes, people, I'm talking about the freak-offs. Now, just because the Enterprise isn't called like the Gambinos, it's set up very much like a mob-ran business. And for lack of a better phrase, Diddy was the Godfather. He was John Gotti in so many words. So Diddy and the Enterprise have been accused of sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation of prostitution, coerce and enticement for prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. And the Enterprise was put together in 2008. So every time Diddy did these heinous acts, like putting his hands on Cassie, they would send the Enterprise over there to make sure she didn't press any charges. Or if he beats up a USC football coach and hit him with a kettleball, he'll send the Enterprise over there to make sure that they change their mind, because remember, they were going to press charges, and then all of a sudden, they dropped the charges.
Instead of an entourage, Sean Diddy Combs got a police escort to jail Monday. This after the 45-year-old reportedly swung a kettlebell at UCLA football strength and conditioning coordinator Sal Alosi.
Or anytime he needed his drugs for his freak-offs, the Enterprise would make sure that the money transfer never came back to Diddy. However, one of the most ridiculous things the Enterprise did is after Diddy's homes were raided, they start actually harassing witnesses, trying to get them to change their statements, threatening them, paying people off. They even listed that Diddy contacted his ex-Dirty Money band member, Kalina, 54 times. Now, if this doesn't sound like the mob people, then I don't know what does. Now, if you've been watching my channel, I've been telling you for years to be a rapper is a dangerous profession, because most of these labels are ran by these drug-affiliated gangsters. There's just no other way to put it. I mean, I was always side-eyeing Jay Prince. I knew he just, we know he's a thug, okay? But I had no idea that Diddy got down like this. Now, let's go to what I think is the most important part of this document. Now, these next couple of paragraphs I'm about to read to you, I don't even think they have done this to the mob. But it reads, if Diddy shall be found guilty, he has to forfeit. That means turn over to the government any property, whether it's physical items, real estates, cars, etc., or other possessions like cash, stocks, and bonds that constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to the commission of the offense. Meaning, if he brought anything, and I mean anything, with this dirty money, he has to turn it over to the government. And if he mixed his dirty money with his clean money and still purchased things, That constitutes forfeiture, which means the government is going to straight out take it. And if you thought that was bad, wait until I read this last paragraph. If the forcible property cannot be seized or identified, if for any reason the specific property that should be forfeited cannot be recovered or identified, the United States government has the right to seek forfeiture of other property owned by the defendant. Meaning, if the judge gives you a judgment for $1 million that you got to pay back, and your house is only worth $800,000, and each of your cars are worth $100,000, well, they're going to take the house and the 2 cars to equal that $1 million. They're also saying if you transferred or sold any property so that the government can't take it, you know what I mean, like bought your house and put it in your mother's name, and they found out that this was yours and you just put it in your mother's name, hand it over. They can even confiscate his property beyond jurisdiction. So if you have a house over in, in England, in London, and they need that to fulfill whatever money you owe the government, what the judge said you have to pay back, they can go get that too. And they don't care if your property is diminished in value. You could say, I paid $300,000 for that car, but now it's only worth $25,000. They don't give a damn. It's coming with the government. And what that statement means at the bottom, commingled with other property, you can't be like, I brought this house with my bad boy money. It had nothing to do with, the enterprise. They don't care. It's called commingling, and it's going with the government. And they're doing this because they want to make sure that when Diddy is behind bars, that his family doesn't prosper off of anything that he ever done for them. Quite honest. They don't want anybody living the high life off of his money, especially his dirty money. Now, to be quite honest, I don't even remember them doing this to mobsters. I don't remember them taking all of John Gotti's assets for himself and for his children and generations to come. I really don't remember that, but I could be wrong, I must admit. Now, today at his arraignment hearing, this is why, in my opinion, the judge said no bail, because the prosecution wrote a letter to the judge, and it basically said that Diddy and the enterprise have been up to their old tricks ever since Diddy's Beverly Hills home and Miami home was raided, and Diddy knew that a possible indictment could be coming his way. They started bribing people, paying off people, or even worse, threatening people. Diddy and the enterprise thought they could do what they always have done for years, and this time it just didn't work. Some of the witness turned state's evidence. They told what was going on and what was happening to them. And even worse, some even testified to the grand jury. And not only that, mixed with the fact that he is a flight risk. He has enough money to leave the United States and go to Bali or wherever he wanted to go. So this is why bail was denied. So when court was over, Diddy's attorney came out, and this is what he said.
So this was the first step. We have a bail appeal scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30 in front of Judge Carter, the district judge assigned to this case. I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think it came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case. And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he. And eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again. And we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore. He was going to stay as long as he needed to stay. It ends up being only 12 days. That's fine. That's what the government wanted to do. The government didn't want him to turn himself in. He came here to turn himself in. Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in. But we're going to make all these points again tomorrow, and we'll make them as much as we can until we get him out.